Well, hello there. My name is HW.
Hey, I'm the Suze.
Suze, that's a beautiful guitar. What are you playing there?
Yeah. This is a, what do they call it? A JM Pro with Lambertrons.
Lambertrons in lovely pink with a roasted neck.
Yep.
Put those trons in there myself.
Did you really?
Had a guy do it for me.
Ah, there you go.
But gave him money myself.
I did pay for it.
Yeah, I paid for it.
Sounds great.
Suze, we're playing the 58 Bandmaster, and it's a great amp. It's a real amp I own. It's sitting back there, and one of my favorite all-time tweed amps. Yeah. I think there's a little secret around Nashville that like this is kind of one of the tweeds that you really want. You hear a lot about the Deluxe, great amp. You hear a lot about the Bassman, great amp. Bandmaster is kind of like a smaller transformer 310 Bassman.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think of it.
Yeah.
And super great. So we tone matched it for the Helix, and we've got a couple things going on here. You can see the signal chain here. You know, what's active right now, there's a little compression in kind of a little LA2A in the back, Rochester in the front, you know, little delay and verb. Heard someone recently say, you know, it's Tone Junkie, so you know you're going to have to turn down the delay and reverb, which just made me chuckle.
Guilty.
Yeah, right. And I just thought, no, we won't be turning it down.
Yeah.
How about you play, and I'm going to take us through clean, overdriven, rock, and lead, just so they can kind of hear.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, here's the Bandmaster tone matched to, what model did we use here on the Helix?
This is the Tweed Blues.
Tweed Blues Bright.
Yeah.
So, and we're on channel 1, kind of the bright channel of this deal here. So, and
channel 2 we'll use the normal. Yeah. So it kind of goes back and forth. Yeah.
Cool. Here we go. Here's clean. Sue's, of course, a master of the guitar. As soon as I hit lead, you change what you're playing.
Yeah.
Because so let's back up here. Clean. So we're just using the amp clean, kind of really.
Minimal effects.
Yeah,
and all
minimal
that.
effects. Just this is a clean guitar. I like it. Overdriven, we're just up. You're upping the drive here a bit, and still using the same ToneMatched IR.
Yeah,
on
still
block
just
1.
the amp.
And we haven't really done anything. There's a little EQ just because people are going to spy it. They're going to go, "What the heck is that, man?" It's just a little tiny shelf, and you know what it's doing? Absolutely nothing at all. Ain't doing nothing at all.
It's there for you.
But if you want it there, you just go ahead and you change what you want. You want a little low gain, little high gain. This is a shelf that'll help you out. And really nice. You just choose your frequency. So you go ahead and play, and we'll go ahead and just show us the overdrive, and then we'll play with this. If you wanted to pretend that you moved a mic a little closer to the middle, you wanted to pretend that you had a bright switch. You want to do something. You could clock this high frequency right in here. You can go, hey, high frequency, give me about 3,500. We're in the treble range. Let's up that 1 decibel. Try that. How about 2.5 decibels?
Yeah, that's cool.
Let's go crazy. How about 5 decibels?
What's going to happen?
We can cut it 3 decibels. We'll go to like a mellow switch. I was playing an old Magnatone, had a mellow switch on it. Not a bright switch, but a mellow switch.
It's a good word.
I thought it was cool, yeah. Almost sounds like we thickened the amp up, like we turned up the lows and the bass and the whatnot. But we did not. Anyway, it's there for you to play around with, for you to match to guitars and stuff. Super useful. You can do it on the high and low. And for rock, Suze, we add a little. What'd you do here?
This is adding a drive. This is the Diana drive, Diana drive.
Yeah.
And then the dual delay kicks on, so a little bit more spaciousness that you might want to turn down.
Yeah. And of course, the lead, you're adding a lead pedal here.
Kinky boost.
The kinky boost. So kind of the same sound, just boosting that same tone. Yeah.
I like it.
Sounds really, really reminiscent of that Bandmaster. So, sick vibe. It wouldn't be Tone Junkie if we didn't have some rad effects up top.
Sick vibe.
Sick. Let's hear it.
This is an effect that I hadn't really used before, the Flexo vibe. And it's cool. It's got, sick vibe.
Sick. Love it.
Sick.
Mod trem, kind of a yeah, we've done something like this before. I love that, and it reminds me of if you never heard a harmonic tremolo, but you described it to someone, and then they tried to dial it in,
right?
They could come up with that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like a harmonic tremolo, but you would kind of describe the same way.
Yeah, it's moving volume and pitch.
Yeah, and it's definitely, you can hear a lot of movement, and that's awesome. Rev delay. Now, wait a minute. You're telling me that, I mean, just play it, and then I'll comment. This really sounds like an effect I'm going to have to think about what I'm going to play before I play it.
Sure, yeah.
Some effects you can just put on over anything.
It's artsy.
It's artsy.
Yeah.
It's going to change the way you play the guitar.
Yeah.
You can't just play anything.
No.
Imagine that I put you on this sound. Think of something to play. Like play something.
Like normal or like that?
Just like this sound, like clean.
Okay.
Play like a clean.
Yeah.
All right, now play that same thing over the rev delay.
Okay. It's kind of a mess.
Ugh, why does Tone Junkie put on all these effects?
Right.
What are they doing? You can't even hear the guitar.
Yeah.
Now play something appropriate.
All right.
Beautiful.
Happy Seuss.
Sounds like the Seuss,
Right,
man.
yeah,
That's
this
the
is
sound.
what happens when you put me in charge of effects.
Yeah,
You know, I'm like, well, here we go.
But it's just, like some things just deserve a little more respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just a light chorus.
Yeah. And the Helix does a lot. You might as well put in some wacky stuff, you know?
You got all these buttons. You know, you can only, I mean, how many stages of gain would a person need?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, the bottom row is kind of your normal deal. When you get up here, you're going into affected stuff.
Yeah, I'd say if you're in a cover band or a rock band, 4 is overkill.
Yeah.
If you're in a worship band, you'd need 4 more.
Right.
This would be 4. 8. You'd need 8 stages of gain.
Yes,
you know?
totally.
Okay, ambient. This is a loaded word, isn't it? And if people want to hear this or see this, it's just the dynamic plate, but then the dynamic hall is after it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's coming on. It's a second reverb coming on, the dynamic hall.
It's
Long
only
decay.
on that one. Yeah.
And most of the sound is there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's hear. That's channel 1.
Yeah.
Let's compare this to channel 2. Let's just hear like channel 1 overdriven again, and then we'll jump to channel 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A little darker.
A little darker.
Mm-hmm.
That's the story there.
Yep. Just like the amp.
Yeah, just like the amp. That's really it. Bright switch, no bright switch.
Mm-hmm.
A lot going on here. Suze, how do you think about like we got this guy hiding in here. So there's an EQ hiding there.
Mm-hmm.
So is this coming on ever?
So it's basically there if you want to add something or whatever. We kind of keep it on a lot of our presets.
Yeah.
I also have been finding using these as boosts are really cool as well.
Yeah, right.
So you could just like there's one before and one after. So you could use that one after just to get more volume before you start going into delay, reverb, all that stuff. Just a 3D boost, dB boost or whatever, that would be cool. And then shaping, we do this kind of on the Kemper as well, like shaping into and after the amplifier.
Yeah.
With EQs or just give you tonal options that like a drive pedal wouldn't, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it'd be like having a big GE7, in this case like a GE10 or just a 10-band EQ. You could put anything there. Almost like if you could engage like a Mesa Boogie EQ that they have on the amps, like on any amp. Yeah, the Bandmaster, one of my favorites.
It really is cool. Yeah. So the Tweed sound is not something I used to play a lot before going digital. Yeah. And so this has really opened up like, oh, this is like a totally, the not the Fender blackface or the Vox sound.
They're more something. They're more rockin'. They're more, and you could take this and here's the amp block. We're only bringing the amp block up to 4.7. Mm-hmm. The amp goes higher. Yeah. Probably to keep it tight, it's a good idea to use a drive to get more. Yeah. And here you can see even the amp is a little cooled off. Yeah. And that's like the beauty of something like this where you can get the amp overdriven and then you can get it in a little bit more of a controlled, still a little more driven than clean, but kind of where we would run pedals, edge.
Totally. Yeah.
And then you can benefit from being able to have that sweet overdriven sound, but you also can get back to clean. You can do these other things. But if you want to modify something like this, here, I'll just use the overdrive. You can, it'll keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. This is just the amp now, but the gain's up.
Yeah. I've just gained it up. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And that's tone matched to the, it's tone matched to get the sound of those P10s,
right.
Which is like what the same figure that would be like in a basement of that era. But in this cab, it's a 310. Yeah. Tall kind of Bandmaster cab. Mm-hmm. Did we do, what other variation do we have here?
So we've got the different mics that you did. So, so we've got channel 1 on the 121, the 545, and then I believe there's also a bright one as well.
Yeah, so let's look at that. So here's the 121, like the bright channel 121. This would be like a very vintage voice. We'll just go clean. Mm-hmm. So this IR now is tone matched to the amp rig with a 121 only on channel 1. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Right. So it's the sound of just that microphone.
And just so folks know, so the mics that were on channel 1...
Fathead and 545.
Okay, so this is a brand new mic on this.
And then, of course, if we go to the 545, a lot of times you'd pair mics like this together, but this is just a dynamic mic. This is the sound of a 57 placed right on an amp. So it's a much more like live sound.
Yeah.
And I would even say like a ready to go live sound. I don't want to say live ready sound for trademark reasons. but a ready to go live
ready,
sound.
yeah. Bright, crispy, crunchy.
Would you turn off that daft delay and reverb, Suze? Please.
That's what these are for.
Please, dude. That is what these are for.
Yeah.
Crispy, punchy.
Yeah.
Kind of will have you right where you'll need to be if a sound guy is not going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What I've said this on Kemper videos, but I'll say it here. What I really like about these single mic presets is when I record now, I can actually separate them into two different channels.
Yeah.
So like I'll record on a 545 on the right and then the 121 on the left and double track something. It's just cool to have that option rather than going from channel 1, channel 2.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like you're hearing those microphones separate, you know.
One of the reasons early on that I started doing profiles, and I've made a bunch of Helix stuff with multiple speakers. You know, you'll have IRs that'll give you a choice of speakers, or you'll have profiles that'll give you a choice of speakers, is because really early on I had a producer friend of mine, he had these guys come in from out of town, and they came in and they were going to record their record in like a month, and they put together all this money to do it. And, you know, they brought all the amps they had. They asked him what amps did he have, and they brought all the amps in, and they said, and he convinced them to use a Kemper, and almost the whole record they did was a matchless DC-30, and then what they would do is just double track or add another part with a DC-30, but just with a different speaker. So just a different profile, but different speaker that I had put in the pack. And he told me, he was like, dude, this is like honestly way better than trying to get two different amps to like complement each other.
Yeah.
He was like, because it is like close enough, but they sound different.
Totally.
Like they break up the same, they everything. And so I was like, oh, that's super cool. And so they brought all their amps. He brought all his amps.
Yeah.
They never used any of the amps. They just
Interesting.
used that, and they just used that pack.
That's cool.
And so they just did all greenback and H30 of that same amp.
Yeah.
They would record something, and then they would do another guitar part, and they would just flip over to that. And then he was like, and then I, didn't really EQ the parts differently after that. Like, I'm sure he's a producer, so he did a couple things. But as we've more recently, I feel like I've been getting that feedback for different microphones, because I've been including a lot more microphone stuff.
Yeah.
And it works the same way. There's, they're just different EQs.
Yeah.
They just make the same amp sound different. It just sounds like whatever the signal chain is. Like it sounds one way with the 121. It sounds one way with the 545. It sounds another way with the fathead and the thing together.
Makes a huge difference. Yeah, the mic and the chain.
It makes like all the difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, Suze, this is the 58 band. There's also a ridiculous one here. Where I realized
baffle.
on this amp when I was doing another video, I realized I forgot it was a 310. I was thinking in my head it was a 410. So I just placed the mic where I envision it would be.
There was a speaker.
And then I walked away to go see if the level was okay.
Yeah.
And then I kind of glanced at it and realized, oh wait, that microphone's not on a speaker at all. It's on the baffle board.
Yeah.
And the configuration of 310, you probably has the most uncut amount of baffle in the corner.
Right. Yeah. There's not a speaker behind.
There's no speaker, and you normally wouldn't have a bunch of empty space.
Yeah.
And so it sounded kind of good. So I mic'd it, and I thought, I hope someday someone contacts me and says, hey, I used the baffle mic on a song, on an overdub, on a whatever.
Yeah.
So it sounds good in the sense that everything sounds good.
It's got a specific purpose.
Yeah. It's not my favorite, but it's for science we put it in here.
Right.
Here it is, overdriven. It sounds like we got like a really powerful EQ on.
Yeah, totally.
We don't. That was just a microphone on the
amp,
baffle coming so far off the speaker that all of a sudden it gave it this little sound that reminds me of a little amp or something.
Yeah.
But it would totally I don't know, rock. Like, try that. Like that, this effect with this EQ.
Yeah, it's quirky.
You could put that on a it's going to sound different than the other guitars you're going to put down.
Right, right.
That's a song, bro.
Totally different, yeah.
What were you playing there? You just made that up?
Yeah.
You just made it up.
Just jamming
made
over
it up.
here.
Come on.
Yeah, put your fingers down. And...
You know, you do that, and it's and you're going to get something.
Right.
You could throw this on top of a bunch of guitars you already threw in a mix because it's thin. You got this weird delay. Who knows what's going to come out?
Right. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. I'll let you play us out on a more normal sound.
Yeah.
And probably just kind of the go-to tone from the pack. Here's the overdrive. And just for fun.
Turn it up.
Because rock. You know? Throw that thing on the bridge and let us have it. I've been HW.
I've been Seuss.